Hello and welcome back. As always, I'm Tom. This is my friend George, and this week we are going to be taking a look at some things around home and families. So most of what we're going to be looking at is going to be in a spreadsheet, which we'll share on the screen with you at the moment. There will be a worksheet element towards the ends. We've included the worksheet in the slideshow, but it might be a little bit small for you to see. So as always, we will include the link underneath the video if you want to have that to view separately and slightly bigger. So let's start the slideshow now. As you can see, home and family is the topic for today. And so we're going to start off, as we often do, with George asking me some questions and me asking him some questions. And then we will get into some important base vocabulary around families and homes. So take it away, George.
So tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in.
So I am currently living in the house where I grew up. We're all living here together. And it's a big house in the countryside in North Yorkshire. And many years ago, it used to be a school.
And how long have you lived there?
Well, I've been here since February. I was up here doing some work on the house, which we run as a holiday rental usually. So I was doing some painting when the lockdown happened. And so I've now been here since February. But when I used to live here properly, full-time as a child, I probably lived here for 6 or 7 years.
What do you like about living there?
Well, as I said, it's a beautiful big house. So we've got loads of room to work and chill out. And also, if we want to go outside, 2 minutes walk and we're in beautiful countryside.
Do you have a large or a small family?
I have a pretty small family, no brothers and sisters, and 2 cousins. My mum and dad, my granddad, my aunt. That's about it.
Tell me something about your family.
Well, they have done lots of interesting jobs and they've worked all over the world and lived all over the world. So my mum, for example, has lived in Kenya, Afghanistan, Sweden, France, and that's just to name a few.
What sort of things do you like to do together?
Well, when I see my mum, we like to play music on the guitar and we sing old Scottish songs together.
In what way is your family important to you?
As I said, they've had very interesting lives and so they're full of good advice. So if I ever have a problem that I can't figure out by myself, I know that either my mum or my dad would be able to help most of the time.
How much time do you manage to spend with members of your family?
Not very much at all. As I say, they worked all over the world and mum lives in Sweden now, full time. And we're all very busy people, so I don't get to see as much of them as I would like. Cool, all right, and now we'll play back on George, see what he has to say. So George, tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in.
Yes, so at the moment I'm living with you, and we're living in a house which used to be a school, and it's a very beautiful property, and the architectural style of the house is Gothic, so it almost looks like a house from a horror book or something.
And how long have you lived here?
So just a couple of months, just before the lockdown. So I think I've been here coming up to 2 months.
And what do you like about living here?
I like the fact I'm living with my best friends, and I like the fact we're right in the middle of the countryside, so we can go on really nice, beautiful walks.
Do you have a large or a small family?
Quite a large family. I've got 3 brothers, and I've got 6 aunts and uncles on my mother's side, and then another 3 aunts on my dad's side, they've all got children. So I've got between 25 and 30 cousins. So quite a large family.
And what sort of things do you like to do together?
We like to go for walks. Really enjoy going for walks, and with my mum, really enjoy cooking. So yeah, we're quite into cooking different recipes and things.
And can you tell me something interesting about your family?
My dad is a lawyer. It's quite interesting, and he plays the organ. Which is that's me playing the organ, by the way. It's a bit like the piano, but in a church.
It's a very good description.
There you go, yeah.
In what way is your family important to you?
Well, they're always on hand to give advice and support, whether that's academic or to do with various life goals or jobs or different things like that. So they're always there to help out.
Nice. And how much time do you get to spend with them?
Well, probably similar to you, Tom. Not as much anymore since I've left home. But I probably speak to them every couple of weeks, and we'll try to meet up with them, every couple of months or something.
Excellent. Right. So moving on, guys. We're into the vocabulary section now, and at the end, as we often do, we've written just a little story that includes all of these words and some true, false, or don't know questions at the end. So we'll take it a page at a time so you don't get bored of our voices. And I'm going to say, why don't I start? So the first word is husband, which many of you will know, I'm sure. The husband is a male partner, the male partner in a marriage. So to put it in a sentence, you could say, she was having breakfast with her husband. And second one is wife. Obviously, that is the opposite of husband, the female partner in a marriage. To put it in a sentence, you could say, James lives at home with his wife of 26 years, which means that they've been, if you don't know that phrase, wife of 26 years would mean that you've been married for 26 years. And number three is uncle. Your uncle is the brother of your father or mother. So you could say, my uncle is so funny, he makes the whole family laugh.
So the next one is aunt. That's aunt, and that's the sister of someone's mother or father. And I'm sorry, there's a spelling mistake in the example sentence, which is on Wednesdays, my aunt, which should be A-U-N-T, not U-U-N-T. On Wednesdays, my aunt and my mum like to go swimming. The next one is nephew. That's nephew, the son of someone's brother or sister. The example sentence is, I'm assuming your nephew is young. And the next one is niece. That's the daughter of someone's brother or sister. For example, Kathy must divide 7 boxes of cookies among her 4 nieces.
Cousin, a child of someone's aunt or uncle. It's all good. Hang on, sorry about that, guys. So a cousin is a child of someone's aunt or uncle. I understand that you have an uncle and a cousin who lives in the docks. Oh, why did they live in the docks? Oh, God. Okay, no, just leave it in. Just leave it in. Sorry, guys, quick pause. So a cousin, a child of someone's aunt or uncle. I understand that you have an uncle and a cousin who live near the docks. Spouse. Your spouse is a husband or a wife considered in relation to their partner. So in a marriage, both people are the other person's spouse. It's like husband or wife, but without a gender attached to it, just a general word. And we have stepdaughter, the daughter of one's spouse and his or her previous partner. So if you remarried. In 2012, my stepdaughter, who was 14 at the time, decided to move school.
The next one is upbringing. That's upbringing. The way in which a child is cared for and taught whilst is growing up. So in the majority of cases, it should be the decision of the parents when to ask for help and advice on their children's care and upbringing. So the next word is childcare. Arrangements for looking after children whilst parents are busy. For example, waiting lists for childcare are often long. And the next word is adolescence. It's the period of human life between childhood and adulthood. For example, Margaret reflected that she often felt different during her adolescence and spent too much time worrying what other people thought about her.
Right, guys, so this takes us into the comprehension bit. I will read through it with you now. You've got a sum up of all the vocabulary at the top there, obviously. I'll read through it, and then if you pause the video for a second, whilst you, sorry, no, because don't worry, I'm going to read it, and then we'll get to the questions afterwards. So, I have strong memories of my adolescence. I was very happy, but sometimes it was a tricky part of my upbringing. My parents worked late most days, and so they had to organise frequent childcare for me and my sister. On Tuesdays, my aunt would cook us dinner, while her husband made sure we did our homework and helped us with any questions we had. Sometimes my uncle would look after us, but he lived an hour away by car, and his wife had to be up early so she could go to work at the hospital. So we would usually have to stay at their house, which made getting to school difficult. Because it was so far away, staying at my uncle's house was more of a special occasion. We looked forward to it, especially if we stayed for the weekend, as we got to play with our cousins, James and Lisa, who were great fun and had amazing toys. Both my uncle and his spouse, Sarah, were very kind to us, cooked us lovely food, and said that we were their favourite nephew and niece. So, right, so these are the questions now. So do whatever you have to do, pause the video, rewind to read the text again, and then we will do these questions together. So I'll just give you a second to figure that out. So true, false, or don't know is the question. So we've got, I can hardly remember my adolescence. I found being a teenager easy. My parents often got home late. Me and my sister would babysit ourselves. My aunt would cook us dinner every Wednesday. My aunt's husband was kind and caring and often helped us with our homework. My uncle lived an hour away. My uncle's wife worked at the shopping mall. Staying with my uncle felt like a special occasion. My sister and I loved to play with our cousins on the weekend. My uncle's wife is called Jane. And finally, my uncle and his wife were fantastic at cooking. So take your time with that, guys, and we'll move on to the answers in a second. That's cool. So I've been talking for a while. Why don't I get George to take you through the answers, guys?
So for the first one, I can hardly remember my adolescence. That is false. For the next one, I found being a teenager easy. That's false. For the next one, my parents often got home late. That's true. For the next one, me and my sister would babysit ourselves. That's false. For the next one, my aunt would cook us dinner every Wednesday. That's false. My aunt's husband was kind and caring and often helped us with our homework. That's true. My uncle lived an hour away. That's true. My uncle's wife worked at the shopping mall. That's false. Staying with my uncle felt like a special occasion. That's true. My sister and I loved to play with our cousins on the weekend. That's true. My uncle's wife is called Jane. That's false. My uncle and his wife were fantastic at cooking. That's true.
Excellent. So moving on, guys, here is the worksheet that I was talking about. Now, as I said, might be a little bit small for you. Yeah, we'll include the link underneath the video as always, and I will give you a minute to read through it now, and then on the next slide are the answers, and we will go through them in the same way. So take your time and have a go at the worksheet, and I'll see you in a second. Right, so onto the answers now. So I'm going to take section A, the first part, and then I will hand over to George for the second bit. So A, the first question, my mother's sister is my aunt. The second question, my daughter's brother is my son. Number 3, your brother's wife is your sister-in-law. Number 4, my father's daughter is my sister. Number 5, my mum and dad are my parents. Number 6, he isn't my son, but he is my wife's son. That would make him a stepson. My sister's son would be my nephew. My aunt's son or daughter is my cousin. If someone isn't your father, but they are your mother's husbands, that would make them your stepfather. My father's brother is my uncle. They aren't brothers, but my wife's son and my son are stepbrothers. My daughter's son is my grandson. And finally, my brother's daughter is my niece. So, part number 2, we've got the wonderful George to take you through, part B even.
So number 1, the father of my father is my grandfather. Number 2, the father of my cousin is my uncle. Number 3, the sister of my brother is my sister. Number 4, the children of my aunts are my cousins. Number 5, the son of my brother is my nephew. Number 6, the husband of my mother is my father or stepfather. Number 7, the son of my daughter is my grandson. Number 8, the mother of my brother is my mother. Number 9, the sister of my father is my aunt. And number 10, the son of my wife is my son or stepson.
Excellent. So that is everything for this week, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, I hope you are staying safe during lockdown. We'll be back next Wednesday, as always. And in the meantime, following on kind of from last week's message about jobs and paperwork and all the kind of confusing bureaucracy we have to deal with at the moment. If you do have questions, reach out on the group Zoom calls with N.E.S.T people. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be very happy to help if anything's confusing you or just a bit difficult or not making sense. That's what they're there for. So do feel free to ask questions. Anyway, have a lovely week. I hope that's a little bit of something for you to think about for a bit. And see you next time. Bye-bye.